Hello everyone. I want to make a quick little video in response to a video that was put up by a long-time channel that we've been watching here that is called A Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. Brian and Maricel down there. I watched the video of him over the past few months. They've got into the fish pens and they have got into buying a couple pump boats and things like that. And as you see, I'm right here at the water, same as him. There's fish pens right down the beach from us right down there. In fact, here on the island of Panay. Now, I've never done the fish pen operation, so I'm not here to give any advice about that. But I want to send Brian a message, just some friendly advice. You know, I'm a content creator. I'm not so much like I don't sit and do a lot of commenting on videos. So I'm just going to make some content out of this, and maybe some of you that might watch him, give him a shout and say, hey, you know, watch this video here. But this is in regards to, I've been watching his videos about the boats and the repairs and things like that. They had that one with the gasoline engine, which I'm just no fan of those gasoline motors here for the pump boats in the Philippines. They don't have the torque and all that these diesels do, and just the diesels seem to do so much better and less problems. But as you see, I got a couple boats here. This is a 35-footer here, we call Leo Fricks, and as well I have this 44-footer right here, which I have named Crystal Gale. And I bought this boat here and reconstructed it mostly myself numerous years ago. And this was something that, it was a totally different boat than what it is now when I bought it. And I did a lot of work on this firsthand myself. We have a large net on it. It's a 20, what they call powdos here. That's how many sections. It's a 20 powdo net, and it's a deep net. He was buying a motor, and he was buying a 16. As you see, I got these motors like right down in here. Let me get in there and raise up that cover. So here's the engine down in here on it. This is a 18 horsepower on this one right here. And on the other one over there is a 16 horsepower. I swear, it's always felt like the 16 one had more power than this 18. And then you got a shaft that comes out down here as well. Let me get down here and pull that little cover there up. And then you see you got a shaft and a cross joint as well. All right, well, what I want to shoot a message to Brian about is, I heard in his video, he said no straight pipe, no straight pipe, it's not negotiable, no straight pipe. Brian, buddy, I was exactly the same as you when I began this ordeal years past. Why the straight pipe? Why the straight pipe? Well, I will tell you the reason why the straight pipe, not the muffler. I learned this lesson. Hello, hello. The kids always coming by. They're so cute. So I learned this lesson long ago here. I heard you talking to Gabriel on that video as saying it's not negotiable. I'm trying to get a place over here I can sit down in the boat. All right, there we go. I heard you telling Gabriel it's not negotiable, no straight pipe. I know those things are loud. And here's the thing. It's not so much about power, Brian. It's about salt eating these jokers up. And I mean, the salt eats them up. My late brother-in-law, Toby, he first had boats here before I did, right here at the same spot. He said the same thing as you, man. The same thing I did too. We all did it. And he wanted mufflers, no straight pipe. Salt ate them right up. And here comes old James here, bebopping along later on. And I bought a couple boats. No straight pipe. I want muffler. You know, we just want that quiet and that peace, right? And shoot, man, that salt ate them up in no time, and it was rattling inside and falling apart. That is not very good quality metal that those are made out of. And in fact, we barely got one of them back off without damaging the block. The next thing, I was raising Cain about the air cleaner. Why not keep that air cleaner on there? That joker rusted away too. Let me climb back down out of here. So the air cleaner would be right there, and I was throwing a fit. Where is the air cleaner? I want it back on there. Well, haha, joke's on me. The salt had done ate it up. I wasted the money, went to the city, bought a replacement. It was no time. The salt done ate it up. And I found myself adopting to their way, which is just wrapping a piece of nylon screen over that right there and tying it. That's why you see that rope right there and you see that nylon screen. When you're out there on the water anyway, there's not really any dust, and so you just want to keep any large particles. So I found myself going the Filipino way. The next thing on here is these fuel tanks. You see all that rope? There's some rubber grommets in there. Man, that rubber's not very good quality. They get hard, they split, that vibration of that engine, and it's not long until the gas tank's vibrating all around and it'll damage it. So I say gas tank, it's diesel, fuel tank. And so nevertheless, we end up going and settling out for the Filipino way. And that was wrapping some small cord around that right there to take up the slack, and it absorbs the vibration as well. Another thing that'll eat up on these is that injector line right there to the injector pump. That's a brand new one right there on it. They're pretty inexpensive, and that'll go out. Now the one thing that I am hard still with them on here is the fuel filter. So the locals around, they'll laugh. You know, if they ain't got a fuel filter, I guess you shouldn't have one too. But you're all around this sand and dirt right here, you're gonna have a fuel filter. I'm just gonna tell you. It gets in those cans, it gets in everything, and it'll clog up that little injector and line. I've had to personally take those injectors apart, clean that little pump system and all out. It's really pretty easy. Usually for them, they will say, we gotta take it to the mechanic. And then mechanic, he'll draw it out into a bigger job than it's supposed to be, because of course he wants to make some money and you don't know the difference. He's supposed to be the one to know. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's super easy to work on, mega easy. Just clean it up. And the next thing on here, if you buy one with electric start, which is what went right there, you're wasting your time. You think you're gonna Cadillac and you're gonna be different than everybody else, and you're gonna have turnkey electric start operation. What's all of this wrapping this rope and yanking it thing? That's because the salt will eat that electric starter up in no time flat. In fact, this one came with an electric starter on it when I bought it. They didn't have one without it for this 18 horse, but we've since taken it off and put a plate over it. The next thing right here is this shroud. These things too will eat up and split out where the bolts go through. Now I tell you what I do, and this is my suggestion, Brian, is immediately before you start running that engine, take that shroud and stuff off and paint it really good on the inside while you can still get it off. And all of those bolts where they go back in, like right there, put some grease on those before you put them back in, or they will seize into that block. So right now, Brian, I want you to try to be a buddy and help you out, and a fellow foreigner here in the Philippines, and give you some advice. Yank that shroud off right now while it's a brand new motor. Get you some good paint and paint you several coats of paint on the inside. You will find the inside of that is completely raw steel. The one other thing that'll go out on them is the governor down there on it. I can't see, I think it's down on the other side. The governor too, you want to paint all of that. It's just a raw steel, and with a little raw steel spring, and that will all eat up as well. The governor's down underneath this tank on this side. So right now, Brian, if you would, go ahead and jump in there and do a little preemptive strike on it and pull that shroud, paint it, get you a good layer of paint on that governor, and get you some grease on all the bolts that you put back in before you thread them. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you will probably find yourself straight piping it, because those mufflers will not last. Neither will the air cleaner. As far as the brand of those motors, when you're there at those shops buying them, Brian, you may already know this because you seem to be a really smart guy. I can tell you, you're a simple country boy like me, but I can tell you got a pretty square head on you. Well, I don't know, maybe it's pretty round. But those motors, what they are is they're all Yanmar clones. They're all built off of a patent expired Yanmar diesel. They're not cloned like an illegal clone. Yanmar's patent ran out on that, and those companies went to cloning them. Basically, it's really probably just only one or two companies, and they stick a whole bunch of different names on there. Yamada and all these different names. And really, it's one and the same. It's just everybody takes and stamps a different sheet metal or a different sticker on that same block, and they're pretty much the same. And that motors are used on a lot of things. I have a diesel generator sitting here with the same motor on it that I brought in a box from the United States to the Philippines, that was sold, you know, in the US as one of those China-made generators. Same motor. Let me show you a couple more things here. So as you see, I am a sea dweller right here at the water. There's water, and I got a concrete boat ramp that we built section by section over a couple of years time, going out towards the water to get over that dry sand. And you see right here, I got me a little 25 horse Yamaha, and I've got me a 115 horse Yamaha. And talking about that generator, that's that same motor again right down there. Same one again. So this right here is that muffler. This is that muffler that you're saying don't take off the motor right there. Leave that muffler on. Man, these things, I tried it, it didn't last no time. You might get something out of it just for a little while. If you want to keep it, you're going to have to just keep replacing them and replacing them and replacing them. This particular one right here, after we learned our lesson, we yanked it off brand new, put the straight pipe, and that's why I had that laying here, because we didn't even bother with it anymore. I thought that I might keep this one right here so that if the one burns up right here on this generator, look at it, same Mohican. You see that? Even on the generator, it's the same one. That if that one burned up there on the generator, I've got a backup for it. Now, I keep a lot of spare stuff down in these crates here. Let me see, there's one more thing that I want to try to find here. See if I can find, yep, here it is right here. This is the pull rope. So you might say, well, I may not want to use electric start, but I might want to use the pull rope. You see all these different names. What's that, Kipper, whatever, and all these different brands. They are all Yanmar clones. It don't matter. I can stick this on a Yamato, whatever brand that is down there. They're all the same. Well, the same thing in these. that spring inside of there, the salt will eat it so fast, and this thing will stick, and they'll be out on the water and they can't crank the boat. And that's why they've just learned the foolproof way of just wrapping a rope and yanking it, and that don't break on them. The rope is the safe way, unless they lose the rope, and they might just cut a cord somewhere else off the boat or a fishing net and make them another one on the spot. So these are things I want to share to you, Brian, and I hope this is a helpful video, not only for you, but for any others come along. And I suggest if you go to a store where they're selling those propellers and what they'll call cross joint, which is just a U-joint. So I also heard you talking about, and if you notice, I have a bigger boat right here, like Western style boat, and it's just an old dog, but it's my old dog. Well, Brian, so let's talk about having an extra prop. Once you find you a good prop, and you're right about upsizing that, you absolutely are. Get you a couple extra props. These props are in the Philippines. They're not made very well, and I have seen them cavitate. Well, let me take this back. I've seen them collapse, not cavitate. I've seen them collapse. They just flatten out. They'll be underneath a load, and you know, I'm gonna pretend like my hand is a prop, all right, and it's all out flat. Let me get here. So it's all spinning around flat, and it's underneath the load, and those two propellers are just lay back just like that, just fold back, because they collapse under the pressure. They're not that great. There's not much options out there. It is what it is in this country. They're not up much for change, so you try to change, it's just not up for change very much, I'll tell you. So Brian, just go ahead and buy you a couple extra props. If you do have a problem with that thing collapsing, it's underneath too big a load, maybe you might want to go back down in prop size. So that's just a little bit of help that I can try to share to you as a fellow foreigner here in the Philippines, and us both trying to do this water thing here and with these pump boats. I hope that helps you out. I just want you to know that we really enjoy you and Maricel. I don't watch every single video, but I guarantee you I watch 70% of them, and I usually pretty much know everything of what you have going on. And I hope everything's good with Maricel and the baby, and you all down there in Bohol. Take care from us up here in Panay Island. See you later, man.